Should all oppressed people be allowed refuge in America? Holly will take the con position. Cher will be pro. Cher, 2 minutes.
So, okay. Like right now, for example, the Haitians need to come to America. But some people are all, what about the strain on our resources? But it's like, when I had this podcast networking party for Nick's birthday, right? I said RSVP because it was a sit-down dinner. But people came that, like, did not RSVP. So I was, like, totally bugging. So I had to haul ass to the kitchen, redistribute the food, squish in extra place settings, but by the end of the day, it was like, the more the merrier. And so, if the government could just get to the kitchen, rearrange some things, we could certainly party with the Haitians. And in conclusion, may I please remind you that it does not say RSVP on the Statue of Liberty.
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
You can't handle the truth. King Kong ain't got shit on me. I am the third revelation.
I am so much crazier than you.
I am the one who knocks.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Best thing, big boy, huh? That's Brad. Fuck you.
Everybody on? Good. Great. Grand. Wonderful.
Ow, where are we? What's happening? Hi, this is Nick. I am your naturally adorable co-host. This is my totally fetch co-host, Gabe. And with us, we have someone who doesn't even go here, Holly. This is Facing Off, a podcast where we take two films that Gabe is staring at me like I'm doing this wrong.
No, you take it, man. I'm very proud of you.
Two films that we compare, contrast, rate, and review for you. So here we go.
Yeah, hey, welcome, Holly.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate having you.
Thank you. I have to say, I'm starting out the gate. I'm salty.
Salty?
I'm a little offended that I am not Cher Horowitz in this scenario.
So we talked about this beforehand, and Nick was like,
to be fair, I vouched for you
Thank
to do
you.
this.
he
so.
said we should have maybe the guest do it. And I was like, wouldn't it be
I am a
funnier
woman.
if we had a guy do it? Because
what
really,
is this,
who's gonna do it
Shakespeare
better?
Play? Oh, well, actually,
True.
shit.
Oh, it is kind of.
It is.
Well, it's
Oh,
almost.
God,
It's
but-
Jane
Also,
Austen.
you did not come out of that explanation looking better than you did before. You botched.
I will say it's less to do with a feminist thing on my end, more to do with so many of my friends' phones, I'm Cher Horowitz in their phone.
Well, you got to hit us
Because-
with all of your quotes.
We really
then.
Because I am obsessed with Cher Horowitz.
Good. I'm
That's
excited.
good
She's my
because
idol.
today we're talking about Clueless versus Mean Girls.
Yeah.
And yeah, do you have a thing that you're gonna do at the beginning? You
Oh,
have
shout
shout-outs and
outs?
stuff.
I don't know if I have a shout out this week. You know, I love all of you guys, but Danny, I'll shout you out. Danny watched both of these movies with me, and we were laughing our ass off, and she provided me with a lot of the notes that I'm going to be putting
Nice.
in this episode. So, you know, credit to Danny. Do you have any shout outs to people you want to like shout out
Like
in the
human
world?
beings?
Yeah.
No, everyone sucks.
Yeah, agreed.
That's where I'm at every week. We do this.
I can
so.
shout. Can I shout down someone?
Yeah, do it.
I'm just gonna shout down every customer in the entire universe that comes up to a bar and as your bartender and you go, "Would you like to keep this open or close?" And they go, "Yes." I want to rip their card in half. I asked you 2 questions, buddy. What am I gonna do with this card? I go, open or close? Sure. No, that's not an answer.
Yeah, do you want to
That is
open or
not
close?
An answer. And then I'm stuck then going, did you want to keep it open? They're like, yeah. And they look at me like I'm so stupid. I'm
You
like,
should be able to cut their card in
I know,
half,
right?
right?
I should just hold some scissors like down below the bar and they slowly inch up as I'm.
Or you should be able to
Give
like
it back
add
to
a
them in
tip.
2 pieces
Yeah.
at the end of their check.
Yeah.
Here you go. All right.
We didn't let like Holly. Do you want to like introduce yourself about like what you do and
Sure.
who you are and
I love the
your
casualness
podcast?
of the pod. I
yeah,
love it.
we just go back and forth.
My
Holly Anabel Brown.
I accidentally called you that in the last episode.
Oh, like a-
I said like
a bread?
Holla Anakin or something, and and then Nick goes, there you go. And I go, no, sorry. And I go, Holla, Anna. And then it was all
Your brain
fucked
just
up.
couldn't function.
I
on the
short-circuited.
Holla, Anna,
It was
Bana.
bad.
All right,
Yeah.
quickly, who are you? Why are you here?
I'm Holly Anabel Brown, and I have committed a terrible crime. I'm Holly Anabel Brown. I'm a comedian. I know you guys from being on my podcast, well, actually pod with Kane Holloway, who's a previous guest on your podcast. And
Big
I
nerd.
love movies so much, and I'm so pumped that you guys asked me to do this one specifically.
Yay.
Because I was struggling, because I think initially I was going to be on with Kane about Star Wars, and we had just done a Star Wars episode.
You were
And
just tired of it.
within our podcast realm, I'm like seemingly what you guys put into this. We do so much research, and so I felt like I'd been looking at a screen and thinking about Star Wars for 5 days straight. And I love Star Wars, but it was a lot.
overkill, yeah.
It was. I was like, I don't know if I could talk about it again. You know.
Well, we're happy to have you on. My mom did message me directly, and she was like, I am so offended that you guys are doing Clueless versus Mean Girls without me. And I go, Mom, I'm pretty sure the audience doesn't want the perspective of someone who was 40 plus when both of these movies came out.
I 100% want your mom to be on this.
No, she'll be on the podcast.
loves
But
these
talking about
movies?
two teen movies
Yeah.
from like...
That's amazing.
You need
Yeah.
someone that was close to a teenage year when they at least saw one of these.
Exactly.
Like
Mean
I was
Girls.
not a
We
teenager
all-
when I saw Clueless, but I was. Oh God, I was like a 10 or 11 when I saw Mean Girls.
I was like 4 months less young than more young than I am now.
No.
I watched it when we were going to do it before, and then I watched it again. I'll get into
My
this.
God.
Wow.
All right.
All right, hit us with the synopsis.
All right, here are my
then,
two
Nick.
long synopsises. Cher Horowitz, the star of Clueless, is young and hot and lives in Beverly Hills with her rich father. Josh, Cher's Nietzsche reading ex-stepbrother, visits her during a break from college. Meanwhile, Cher plays matchmaker for two teachers at her school, so they're happy and they give her good grades. She realizes that she enjoys doing good deeds because good deeds equals good grades. She then decides to give back to the community by adopting a new girl at school named Ty Frazier. Cher and her bestie Dion give Ty a makeover, which gives Ty confidence. Cher also tries to extinguish the attraction between Ty and Travis Birkenstock, a Spicoli knockoff who is tardy as hell.
Wait, his last name is Birkenstock?
Yeah.
Nice.
Thanks, Wikipedia. Cher tries to hook up Ty and this dude Elton, but he rejects Ty and then fails to seduce Cher. The dude's like a huge mess. He's like 100% the loser of the movie.
Who?
Yeah.
Elton?
Yeah.
He's the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A handsome new student at school shows up, though. His name is Christian, and he becomes Cher's target boyfriend. But Dion's boyfriend explains to Cher and Dion that Christian is gay. And despite her failure in noticing the obvious hints that Christian plays for the other team, Cher remains on friendly terms with Christian, primarily due to the admiration of his taste in art and fashion. Ty's newfound popularity strains her relationship with Cher. Ty confesses that she loves Josh and wants Cher's help in pursuing him. Cher says Ty is not right for Josh, and then they have beef. The disagreement ends with Ty calling Cher a virgin who can't drive, and feeling totally clueless. Cher reflects on her priorities and repeated failures to understand and appreciate the people in her life.
Yep.
Yep.
Wow.
Cher realizes that she loves Josh. She begins making efforts to live a more purposeful life. Cher and Josh eventually admit their feelings for each other, culminating in a tender but kind of weird kiss.
Yeah, I was gonna say Cher and her stepbrother Josh, who calls her father Dad.
Yeah, and he's also like
Fall in
at
love.
least 19 or more, and she says she's 16.
Oh
right?
yeah. She's 16. He's
It's all it's all good though. It's all good. In Mean
Yeah, but
Girls,
he's cute as hell.
Oh my God, what a button.
beautiful.
Right.
16-year-old homeschooled Katie Heron and her zoologist parents return to the United States after a long research trip in Africa, settling in Evanston, Illinois. Katie meets and befriends Janice and Damien. They educate Katie on the school's various cliques and warn her to avoid the most popular one, the Plastics, which is led by Queen Bee Regina George, the heir to the toaster strudel throne, Gretchen Wieners, and the sweet but stupid Karen Smith. The Plastics take an interest in Katie. They invite her to sit with them at lunch, and after Katie takes a liking to Regina's ex, but Regina kisses her ex in front of Katie, she fully commits to Janice's plan of cutting off Regina's resources, involving breaking Regina and Aaron up, tricking Regina into eating Swedish nutrition bars that actually make her super fat, and turning Regina's fellow Plastics against her. In the process, Katie unwittingly remakes herself, in Regina's eyes becoming a spiteful, superficial a-hole. When Regina is finally made aware of Katie's treachery, She retaliates by spreading the contents of a burn book all over the school, quickly inciting a massive apocalyptic battle royale in the halls. The book's creation is expertly framed on Katie, Gretchen, and Karen, and Miss Norbury, the math teacher, whom the burn book defames as a drug dealer, makes the girls make up. Janice confesses the plan to destroy Regina with Katie's help, and openly mocks Regina, who storms out of the school and gets hit by a school bus and breaks her spine. Katie takes full blame for the burn book. She makes amends with Regina and wins a mathlete competition for the school. She is elected queen at the spring fling dance and declares that all of her classmates are wonderful in their own ways, snaps her plastic tiara apart, and distributes the pieces to the other girls in the crowd. Then she reconciles with everybody, and everything's all good.
Yeah, very socialist ending.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, we're choosing these two movies because they're two very, very popular female-led high school movies, and there is actually a pretty big split between whether people think Mean Girls is better or Clueless is better.
I mean, I can see it.
Yeah.
I totally get. I wonder how much has to do with the divide of the age when it came out.
Totally. Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, well, I'm gonna stand for this movie because I saw it in theaters. You know?
Right. Or yeah.
You know,
it was like part of your upbringing
yeah.
or not. Yeah.
Because I saw Clues before I saw Mean Girls.
Same.
But I was too young to understand either of them.
Totally.
And then I think I kind of just saw them both at the same time once I was of age to get them, and I just like completely gravitated towards Clueless. But Mean Girls, in doing this research for the podcast or the breaking down, it surprised me.
Oh yeah, hit us with your fun facts during this.
Oh
by the
shit!
way. Yeah.
I don't have a ton.
I
have some in my brain hole.
Okay, do you want to do it as the categories go across, or do you want to just
I'm going to do them now since
All
they're in my head.
Spotlight.
The only fun facts I really have are that their ages when they were playing the roles, which I think to me so much factors in believability, which is actually the first, right? Is that the first category? Am I going crazy?
Yeah, like acting.
Yeah. Because everyone in Clueless was of age, I believe, besides Stacey Dash, who was 28, and Paul
she was
Rudd
older than Paul Rudd, right?
Yeah, Paul Rudd was 26. But everyone else was like 18 to 21, 22. And then Mean Girls, I think it was pretty good too. Like they did a really good job. Rachel McAdams was 25, 26.
Yeah, she definitely looked a lot younger.
was 22. Lindsey Lohan was 19 or 18 or something like that. And then Amanda Seyfried was 19.
Oh, that's good.
Damien though was 26, which I found it. I would never have thought that.
I guess I can kind of see that, but he's just also just like a taller, bigger person.
Yeah.
So like maybe it's like basketball players you think that they're so much older than they are. Yeah.
And then I'm trying to think of any other fun. I mean,
they're taller.
They have to be older.
Yeah.
That's what I get all the time.
Yeah.
I'm 5'10", and people are always like, when I'm out with my sister.
Are you 100? Are you here for the senior special? Yeah. All right. Any more fun facts?
They're both based off of. They're both adapted from other sources. So they have source material.
I want to talk about that originality.
See, I didn't. Okay.
Yeah. Let's break down
good.
the categories then.
We'll break down the categories, but first, in case you have never listened to this before, we have a 1 to 7 rating scale. 1 is the worstest, 4 is the middlest, and 7 is the bestest.
Yeah. True. Okay. Our 5 categories today. We are doing our comedy categories. We're doing acting, spectac, hilarity, originality, legacy, and then quotability/rewatchability. Let's start with acting. Nick, you get started. Acting Clueless, and tell us what acting is.
You're gonna make me go Clueless first?
Yeah.
Honestly, for the sake of making this conversation more interesting, I'm gonna give it a 4.
Wow. Get out of here.
What?
You can't sit with us.
Paul Rudd's not good in this. Straight up.
It's his. I think it's his first movie.
It's his first lead role.
Well, it
like
shows.
Yeah.
Well, it shows, Paul.
Yeah.
Paul, you weren't good if you're listening to this.
He was so cute.
Yeah, he was ultra yummy.
With you?
Yeah.
Like, nice. I like that I get to be the foil in this episode, I think.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't have started with you.
Yeah, you shouldn't have.
You shouldn't talk for the rest of
I honestly have never liked Alicia Silverstone either.
Oh, get out of my
But she's fine in this because it's essentially just perfect for her. They're not, like, bad.
Well, yeah, how can you ever like Alicia Silverstone if you haven't seen this first?
Right.
You know?
Right,
No
you're
offense,
going off
it's
of
not-
Batman.
Batgirl?
Yeah, she's not good.
Also, the Aerosmith music video for Crying.
You're right.
True.
I fall asleep to that.
Every night. And you just have nightmares, I assume, about Steven Tyler eating your soul. And,
Yeah, he
I just
is
think
my
that's
depiction of a devil.
something thing falls flat. Even though the writing is awesome, I can't tell if it's like a directing thing, but I don't know what directors do because I'm an idiot.
I'm going to challenge you to watch it again.
I've seen it twice in the last 4
challenge you
months.
to watch
Direct.
5 more
It's
times.
Amy Heckerling. She also did Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Arguably
queen.
the best movie of all time.
Wow, hard argument.
My highlight,
I'll argue.
my highlights are Turk and Brittany Murphy.
Yeah. Donald Faison is really good.
Yeah, oh my
Brittany
God,
Murphy.
he's so
R.I.P.
good.
Brittany
I
Murphy.
just listened to a podcast with him talking about this movie. Unintentionally. It's not like it was they went in talking about it, but it was an interview podcast, and they just happened to dwell a lot on it. And he got the part, and he 100% thought it was going to bomb.
Oh, really?
He was like, what the? He didn't quite get it.
did all right.
He was not from LA. He had no idea what any of the things that they were talking about were.
Oh, this is such an L.A. movie, too.
Yeah, it is. And that I grew up in LA, and I'm a Valley girl, and they talk about the Valley, so I would be like, even though they're insulting the Valley the whole time.
That's true.
But he was so badly, he completely thought it was going to bomb, and then it changed his life. Which
Good. Yeah, and he's awesome in it.
Good for
well,
you,
why don't
Turk.
you, Holly, why don't you talk about acting, like what you gave
For
Clueless? Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to give it, oh my God, how do I not give it a 7 in every category?
You're allowed to do whatever you want.
Because I already know.
Yeah, we had our
We
really
had a
good
guest
friend
do
on,
that.
and we did his favorite movie, and
he did
gave it all
Shutter
sevens.
Island. He gave 7s all across.
Wow, bold guy. I'm going to
Yeah.
give it a
This
7
is a really
acting wise.
evaporated
I
straight
think
Good.
it is so perfectly cast. Murray is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And Cher, oh my God, one of my favorite lines is Cher talking to her dad on the phone. He's like, "Where are you? Where are you? Are you in Kuwait? I don't know where you are. I can't remember
Oh, yeah.
exactly." And she's like, "Kuwait? Is that in the valley?"
Yeah.
She is so perfect, which blows my mind to think that anyone else was gonna play this role, because they
Right.
initially wanted Sarah Jessica Parker for this role, or
Really?
Reese
It was
Witherspoon.
Like someone else. Yeah, Reese Witherspoon was the other one.
Witherspoon as well.
Yeah.
Sarah Jessica
Which doesn't feel right at all.
Well, there was one
SJP,
casting
really?
one that was going to be like, I was hoping that you were going to bring this up because
Oh,
you
no,
always look
what
up
is it?
casting what ifs.
I
There's
know,
one
I
that was like
should've.
absolutely hilarious, and I wish it
Oh,
happened.
damn it. I
Yeah.
know them normally in my head for movies I love. But I would just say they, coming from the Valley, knowing these kind of people in Beverly Hills and stuff, I think they fucking nailed it. They were so good, especially in my eyes. They wrote a script. They had to take a script or take a concept that was really not for kids, essentially, or teenagers that teenagers didn't like in this day and age. They had to make it for teenagers, also make it smart, also make it stick to the source material, and invented words in the process and slang much like Shakespeare did. Not that this is a Shakespeare play, but I just think that Amy Heckerling did such a good job at maintaining their teenageness while also speaking to older audiences.
I totally agree with this.
Thanks,
Okay.
Gabe.
So I originally had it at a 5. I'm gonna move it up to a 6.
Yeah, boy.
And when we're talking about acting with comedies, like the acting doesn't need to be amazing, but it needs to be believable in the comedy sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that all around, it's just great comedic acting,
Oh my
like
God.
purposefully ridiculous acting, especially by Alicia Silverstone. She's incredible at playing this ridiculous ditzy person.
Mm-hmm.
Her narrating is amazing. I'm gonna get into like how funny they do her narrating later. But she plays like this perfect like daddy's girl from Beverly Hills who like really good at manipulating people. She didn't have to audition apparently. But she doesn't talk like that. But she didn't know how to pronounce Haitians. And so she actually said Haitians and they didn't want to correct her. So they kept that.
Oh my God.
Brittany Murphy is amazing in this.
Yeah.
R.I.P. to her. I love that she comes in and she's like talking about how she needs like a herbal remedy and they don't know what she's talking about. And they're like, "Oh, we can give you a Coke." And she's like, "Oh shit, you guys got Coke here?"
Oh yeah, stuff that you
And they're like,
do not get
yeah,
as a kid.
Yeah,
this
not at
is,
all.
Like America, this is California.
You know who quotes that all the
Or
time?
America.
Julie. Julie always says that.
Oh, yeah, she does.
I also love Donald Faison, as we talked about. I love Breckenmeyer is
Breckenmeyer?
incredible
Oh
as
my
a stoner. Yeah. Oh, Dan Hedaya, the guy who plays the father, is like the perfect
Yeah, he's
rich
great.
father, but also like he is such a Beverly Hills attorney. It's like highly accurate to how those attorneys are. I love it. The only thing is that I do think Paul Rudd kind of sucks at acting in it.
Yeah, it
And the
shows
acting is a
Paul.
little awkward, and I think that's just like an aging thing, like how people used to interact. So I give it a 6. Let's talk about Mean Girls, though.
I'll
in
change
terms
it
of
to.
acting.
I'll change it back to a 5.
No,
No,
we don't
don't
need to
change
peer
it.
pressure you.
You stick
I'm
by
changing
your
it back to a
guns.
4.
Yeah. All right.
Boners.
You're an idiot. All right. So Nick, redeem yourself, I guess. Talk about Mean Girls acting and how it worked for you.
I think it works just fine for me. I gave it a 6. I think the writing in Mean Girls is funnier. It's intentionally supposed to be
Gabe's
hilarious.
shaking his
No,
head
I like
furiously.
Mean Girls much better. I think the acting in Mean Girls is funnier. I think the directing's about the same. I don't really know. My highlights, Amy Poehler is absolutely
Oh
hilarious
my
in
god,
this role.
she blows my mind in that movie.
Yeah, she's hilarious. Seafried
guys need
cracks me
anything?
up. Like
Snacks?
every line that is a Karen line is just amazing.
She's great.
So
Yeah.
stupid. I love it. Rachel McAdams
Amazing.
is the best high school villain.
Yeah.
After Biff Tannen.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, I think it's hilarious. I don't know that there's anyone in it that I think is bad. Lindsay Lohan's like whatever.
She's bad.
No, I think she's right.
No,
like she's the straight person. We needed a straight
Right.
straight man, and
I think I only noticed it this time because I used to like Lindsay Lohan was number 1 bae for me when I was growing up. Like, Get a
Really?
Clue, I was like, I'm gonna marry this person, and you know what? I'd marry
Get a
her with her
Clue?
flaws now.
she has a
okay.
little detective hat on, and Gabe's like, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
coming in his pants.
It was exactly like that. No, I don't know. I think it was like her acting is off, but when she gets to play, like once she starts becoming like a mean plastic person, she's great. And I think that's like more who
well,
she
did
is.
you know she was cast as that role? She was cast as Regina.
Oh, really? Originally, and
And
they switched it.
she was her idea to bring to the producers to be like, I don't think I should play Regina. I
Oh.
think it will damage my image because I'm known as a good girl.
Oh,
So
shit.
she made the choice to not be. She wanted to be Katie. Then
Even
they
though it
hired-
was like true that she was a
Yeah,
bad
I know.
girl.
Then Amanda
I
Seyfried
knew
was
it.
cast as Regina, but then she
Yeah.
got demoted to Karen, and
Oh.
they brought Rachel McAdams in later.
Oh, interesting. What did you give it acting? Mean
I
Girls?
gave it. Oh God, it's so hard. It's so hard to not give it a 7. It's.
Whoa.
I would say
Whoa.
I'm gonna say 6 though because believability wise, this could just be from a geographical standpoint. I'm from LA, so I felt like I did not have this high school experience in any way.
Yeah,
Evanston,
I didn't
Illinois?
I
feel
don't
like
think
it
a
was
lot
that
of
accurate.
people do, and I think the one that share, while it's more exaggerated in Clueless, I think they're not bad people, and people still like them. Everybody
Yeah.
still likes them in Clueless.
Right.
People don't love somebody that's such an asshole like they do in Mean Girls.
Oh yeah,
So
she's like,
that is where it falters. for
that
me.
part at the beginning, I love the little interview sequence when
Yeah.
they're talking to each person, and then that girl's like, "One time, Regina punched me in the face, and it was awesome."
Yeah, that's the only reason that knocks it down to a 6 for me.
Okay, interesting. I give it a 5. I still think it's above average. I think it's really good comedic acting, and I do want to highlight. I mean, Rachel McAdams is incredible as a villain. Like,
Yeah.
If you haven't heard the Villains podcast by Shea Serrano, he has a whole episode about Regina George, and it's great. I think it helps that there's an insane cast and everyone like blew up after this movie. I think that every one of the plastics are great. Like Lacey Chabert, or
So perfect. She's
she's
like,
like-
just neurotic. Like, I don't know if the inventor of toaster strudel, my father, would love to hear about this.
that's so good. Yeah, I don't know. She was like number 2 bae for me growing up.
Really?
She's insanely
Gabe only
pretty.
saw one movie.
That was it.
Get a clue and
And
watched
only the parts
all
with Gretchen
7,000
Wieners.
other movies that he's seen. He saw like much later in life.
I do love
Exactly.
hearing about people's crushes from when they're younger because it's never what you expect.
Well, it's all-
always somebody that's been in like 3 movies that we know about.
Well, almost all of mine were like Degrassi cast members. Like Manny
You
from
like
Degrassi.
Degrassi?
Growing up, I loved Degrassi.
Are you Canadian?
Hey, this isn't
As
this isn't a
is he
Degrassi
Canadian.
podcast, but
He's
I
far
love
too
it.
rude to be Canadian.
I always forget Lizzie Kaplan is in this. She's like crazy pretty now.
She's kind of unrecognizable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not any of the Lizzie Cop. I think she popped up later in other stuff, and I think that's why her career took a little later to take off
Yeah.
because people were like, "Who's that?"
Yeah.
You know.
She's
Yeah,
great
totally.
in this.
Tim Meadows, amazing.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Tim Meadows is one of my favorite people alive.
God.
Yeah,
He's
dude.
so great. So what brings it down is I really didn't like Lindsay Lohan's performance this time, and then some of the acting. It's either the acting or the directing. It feels clunky. Like I say a line, and then there's like a pause, and then you say a line, and then it's like some of that didn't work. And I think also because the script is by Tina Fey, and Tina Fey has a very specific way of doing comedy, I don't think it works for every single person that she's writing for, even though it works. I mean, like Tina Fey is so good in this movie, and I love her writing. I felt like it was a little awkward at time. And I want to say, really big waste of Anna Gasteyer from SNL. She's
point.
super
Yeah,
funny, and
absolutely.
she's not.
Yeah, she truly is just plays a mom. Like, or
Well,
just
they make her say those like ridiculous like African artifact things
Oh
or like
yeah, the
things that she
Mombasa
did.
tribe.
Yeah.
Why is my Mombasa Bob under the sink?
Yeah, that's what it. So that's like the only time they give it to her. I mean, I still think it's above average, but yeah. So that was 5 from me, 6 from Nick,
Yeah.
and then a 7 from
No,
Holly.
6 from me for
Six.
for Mean Girls.
For Mean Girls,
I
okay.
will say that I think both movies do a phenomenal job at using the word like. They do
Yeah,
not
amazing.
use it too much, but they use it more than normal people do,
Yeah.
and basically teen girls do in scenarios.
And it's highly accurate to the
Yeah,
characters.
and when you're writing something, I think that's a hard thing to do, to throw in a word like
That's
because
true.
your brain naturally wants to write better than you speak, I think.
Yeah.
So
totally
that
agree.
way makes yourself sound more eloquent when you're talking
Tina
out
Fey's
loud. So.
like a genius.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she is.
It's not my fault that everyone's like in love with me or something.
I love that part when she falls and then Amanda Seyfried's the only one out there. Okay, so let's move on to our next category. We're doing Spectac Hilarity, which is where we talk about the engagement level of the movie, whether you were engaged or distracted and bored.
Oh, I already know.
And then the
know.
balance of the comedy. So let's start with Mean Girls, since we're
Okay.
already talking about Holly. Why don't you start with Spectacularity?
Oh, so Mean Girls. Oh shit, it's so funny. I wrote so much about Clueless, but Mean Girls it just is blank.
Go.
So wait, what?
Do you want me to start?
Describe it to me again. Do it one more time. What am I doing?
So Spectacularity is
Yeah.
like part of it is how engaging the movie was. Like if you were bored, like you like kind of just were checked out for some of it, and then like how well balanced the comedy was, or if there are like
I
dull
would
moments.
say it's never boring. It's great. It's so funny.
Yeah.
I think every character introduces something like it's a very easy, simple plot to follow, which
Yes.
I think does a lot of service to it in a lot of ways.
Even Karen could follow it.
Karen.
Karen's smart.
Yeah.
But I just love it. I love this movie. It's endlessly like quotable. It's great. I don't know. I'm so biased towards Clueless. It's really hard to be impartial.
You're allowed to do that.
What was your rating?
Wait, rating for Spectacular.
7.
Spectacular.
For Mean
You
Girls.
know what? I'm gonna say, comedy-wise, it's a 6.
Okay.
6, yeah. 6.
Yeah, that's why we do the hilarity aspect
Yeah.
of it, because that is like part of watching a comedy movie. It's got to keep you engaged, but you
Right.
also got to be laughing like
It's a
consistently.
mathematical formula.
I
Yeah.
laughed
Per minute.
Anytime Amy Poehler was on screen, I laughed out loud.
She's
Yeah.
so great
She's
in
like,
it.
and it's not just her lines, the way she says them.
And
She's
like her appearance and
she
everything.
does
Happy
this thing-
hour.
Oh yeah. She does this thing where I wish you guys could. Little simple things where she just knows her character so well. Where she's like talking. She takes her fingers and puts her hair
through the
behind
hair?
her
Yeah.
ears.
Yeah.
Like the bitchiest woman alive. Oh god.
And then
Traces
Regina's
along
like,
her
go like
eyebrows.
fix your hair or something.
Yeah.
It's
She's
so
like, okay,
funny.
love
While
you,
the dog is
girls.
like munching on her fake tit.
Wait, or when they're doing the Christmas dance or whatever, and then she
yeah.
gets up with the camera
And she's doing the
it,
dance.
but she's fully the camera's facing the other way. It's
Yeah.
not at all on them.
No,
And
yeah.
she's doing the dance. It's like hopping with. Oh my god, she's so good.
So good. All right.
I
Yeah.
gave it a 6 too.
Okay.
It is. Let's see. What did I write? Mean Girls is
But I right.
like nails the laughs per minute thing. I don't
It
think
does.
Yeah.
there's like it's very well paced in how like funny it is. And like you said, you get introduced to a bunch of new characters, and every single one of them is not funnier than the last one, but like almost.
Yeah.
It's almost like you
definitely.
just
way
meet
they
the
sequence
more
it, yeah.
ridiculous people,
They-
the more the movie goes
That's
in.
a good
More
point.
memorable characters, I would say, than Clueless. Like in
Yes.
terms of
Yeah.
just quantity.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's. I mean, I've seen it more times, and it's like one of my favorite comedies. It's not like in my upper echelon. It's like one.
Because you're
second-
sexist.
What did
Wait.
you think of-
Pause. That was too long of a pause.
It's like really close
Usually
to
I do
being.
that.
It's really close to being like upper echelon comedy for me. It's
Yeah,
hilarious.
fair.
I gave it a 6. I don't think it's like perfect, but
So I apologize, but I'm giving it a 4.
What the fuck?
I think it's like average for. I mean, I really enjoy watching it. I will say this time around, I was less engaged, and I don't know what that was because I expected to give better ratings. Even though I love Clueless, I was expecting to give better ratings because I like Tina Fey, and like this is more memorable, and this is like from our. I mean, we're all around the same age, so like This was part of our upbringing. This
What are you
was a
talking
really
about? Holly's
important
105
movie.
years old.
Oh, that's
Can't
true.
you
I
tell she's so
forgot.
tall?
I'm super tall.
She's so tall. She's like touching the roof right now.
I'm dying.
I think it helps that it's
Alice in
really.
Wonderland. Sorry.
Yeah, it keeps changing. No?
She gets bigger and then
Yeah.
okay, go
Wait, can you explain that more?
Yeah.
ahead. So much more and then it gets bigger.
I think it helps that this movie's like incredibly silly. Like I love how silly it is and ridiculous, and I do like that it is a simple plot, so you can like just follow along, and it's not like you're not too distracted. I love some of the scenes that get me really into it are the comparisons to like Africa, like in the mall when they're all like fighting each other. It's
or in the cafeteria, when you just
the
kind of
cafeteria
pause
one's
it
great.
and look at everyone's faces, they're so into it.
It's
Aaron
almost
Samuels,
like a Harlem Shake.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yes,
Aaron
Aaron
Samuels'
Samuels
face.
is
Yeah.
losing his.
He's like the
Yeah.
full monkey. Oh my
Oh yeah,
God,
he's
it's
the one doing the monkey
great.
thing. Yeah, it is. I mean, those are really
How
engaging.
fun would that scene have been? to
I
film?
know.
That I bet it would have been fun. I think it's still like
That was
it's
endearing.
It's really
bet, yeah.
clunky and like awkward for me at times.
That's
and like
so interesting. What can you describe more what you mean by
there's
clunky?
there's one part that just doesn't work for me, and I think it's a cleverly written scene. It's the scene where they're doing the 4-way conversation, and I like on the phone, and I like the way it's done. It's just that there's too many like awkward pauses between things. I mean, part of it is them connecting with each other, but I like my brain completely shut off during that scene. I don't know why.
Really?
Gabe
How-
is nitpicky as
Yeah,
shit.
'cause
today.
I'm sorry.
I love that scene. I think that's such a fun scene.
You
I
are.
also Lindsay Lohan's acting to me was like distractingly bad. Like I was taken out of the movie, and you guys gotta understand, I hate doing this to my girl Lindsay Lohan, but she fucking bothered me in this, and I don't know what it was.
I noticed that you turned around all the posters in your room. So that
Oh yeah,
face
she was.
the other
You
way.
wouldn't see that they were. Yeah, they're actually in the corner right now. I don't know. I'm close. I thought it would have been a 6 or 7 for me. It just I felt distracted, and maybe I was just really tired yesterday.
or maybe you're just
That's
wrong.
possible.
Okay, what did you give Clueless?
So Clueless, I gave for spectacularity. I gave it a 5.
What?
I think it's really fun. So that part of what
my God.
the thing is, both of these movies kind of aged to a certain degree, and like I notice in comedies when things are like awkwardly paced, it fuck off, dude.
Sometimes you say stuff. Like that was hilarious to me because you said they've aged somewhat. Yeah, of
They have
course they
aged.
have.
Yeah, I
It
know.
came out in one year,
25 years
and
ago.
now it's later. Okay,
All right, I just mean like certain like aspects of it just like over time didn't
Really?
work.
I
I'm gonna talk.
completely disagree. I think largely it's super impressive. Well, good God, can they say the word retarded more times than
Oh,
Mean Girls?
yeah,
That's
dude.
rough.
like
Yeah.
a lot.
Rough. Which makes me go, wow, we've really progressed. That's
Yeah.
great. But I would say largely they haven't aged, and that's what makes them so timeless.
Well, okay, so they are timeless, and like I really enjoy watching them. I mean, I both of them are like average or above average. Like I still am engaged watching them. I just think certain things over time have gotten me less engaged. Although I still like, I could maybe move up Clueless just because I really love certain scenes. Like they're out of comedies, there is almost no more engaging scene than Dion on the freeway. That's like
my
one of my
God.
favorite
Yeah.
comedy
I
scenes
know.
ever. And it's like the way it's structured is hilarious. There's like a van behind them, then there's a biker gang, then there's an old lady flipping them off, then there's a big truck, and then it's like followed by Cher's ridiculous line, boy, getting off the freeway makes you really appreciate how important love is. Do you remember when I like randomly, it was like 2:00 in the morning when we were living in Long Beach, I just posted that on Facebook with no context. I just put that line and most people didn't
Oh
get it.
man, that's a lot funnier now that I've seen this movie.
I think the humor is still really well balanced. I don't know. The way that they are to rich kids is so brutal and it's so on point and funny that I love that. I like that they keep showing girls with like bandages over their nose.
Yeah.
Because
I
everyone's got
know.
plastic surgery. I think it's a pretty fun movie about nothing, and it's not ever boring. There's not like a boring moment of Clueless for me. I felt like I was laughing a lot harder this time around, and I've seen this movie probably like 15 to 20 times.
Yeah.
And I was dying of laughter watching this, especially the freeway scene. Or the scene at the beginning when that guy walks up to her and like tries to flirt with her and she shoves him and she's like,
Yes.
as if. and shoves him off the screen. It's just good use of comedy. I don't know. It's a 5. I may move it to a 6. Holly, what about you?
7, baby. Okay, this is what I wrote down. I was also high and tired.
Sick.
Great combo.
I put perfect. feels like multiple movies in one with the journey we go on, but it never gets boring.
Yeah.
It takes its time to develop the characters super well and lives the lives of teenagers in multiple scenarios, different crossroads, different heightened scenarios. See, I'm just rambling when I'm high. It satirizes the narcissistic personality type of your average SoCal kid, but manages to be warm and affectionate towards those kids.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Thank you, bitch.
That's a
Yeah, I found, those moments where Cher is saying things where it's both so unrelatable, where it's like, when you really get off the freeway, you find out. But as a kid, you're watching that going, oh my God, freeways are terrifying.
Oh, and this is the 405 that
Yeah.
they're filming it on, like in Long Beach area, where it's just like a nightmare to be driving.
Or when she's taking her driver's lesson and she hits a fucking car.
That scene is incredible.
Sorry, should I leave a note? It's like she's committed a crime and it's bad and makes her look so bad, but you're watching it going, God, I really want her to get a license.
Yeah.
You know?
The whole part with her, like what you mentioned it earlier with the phone booth where she was talking to her dad, and then she gets mugged, is so funny.
Circus
and like,
Liquor, which I went to after I watched the movie. I was like,
Oh, really?
take me to Circus Liquor, Mom.
So where in the isn't that like Sun Valley?
It's in Burbank.
Oh, in Burbank. Okay.
Yeah.
Because they were talking about Sun
yeah,
Valley, and
Burbank.
Sun Valley's like hours
I
away.
know.
Yeah. Super far.
Well, it's not out. No, Sun Valley's not hours
wait,
away.
it's
You
like
live in
10
Culver City.
hours,
Oh my
okay?
God.
It's like so far. Okay, but I don't know. I
think
thought it was far.
their outfits were so iconic. And oh my God, just in terms of comedy wise, the things that Amy Heckerling came up with, like the words she put together, were unbelievable.
So a lot of that was like slang terms that didn't exist. They made it for the
Yeah.
movie, but then teens caught on and started saying it afterwards.
Yeah.
So.
So I think
Pretty powerful writing, if you ask me.
hell fucking yeah, dude. But I will say Mean Girls also did that, like the word Mean Girls.
Yeah.
People now use Mean Girls as a reference
Mm.
to those types of people.
And
Yeah.
fetch.
Yeah.
Everyone says fetch.
Like if you
Yeah.
ask my boyfriend, he would probably tell you I was a mean girl.
Whoa.
But I don't think I was. I think I'm more of a Cher who is kind of somewhat seen as a mean girl based
But
off of
wants really badly to like bring people
But I
together and
am
stuff.
genuinely good at heart.
Okay.
But I just have moments of like
and you don't have a driver's license.
no, and I'm a virgin who can't drive.
Yeah, a Jen who can't draw.
I am going to give this a 4, and I'm only not going to give it a 3 because you guys are sitting in between me and the exit. Although I could get out of here the back way.
Yeah, you could.
It doesn't work for me. I don't get it. I just don't. I've seen Clueless twice now. I just doesn't.
Watch it with me.
Maybe we should have watched it together.
We should have.
Did you watch it with your fiance?
No, yeah, the first time.
Does she like it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
she loves it.
She hates that we're comparing the two because the plots are very different.
I completely see why you compare the two. though.
No,
Yeah.
I think the plots are actually kind of the
Yeah.
same.
Makeover.
That's what I keep saying, but
Yeah.
that's what she says.
You know,
Anyway,
fuck you, Julie.
Metamorphosis.
I
Fuck you, Julie.
I just it just
Kafka-esque.
doesn't because of the metamorphosis.
Metamorphosis.
It just doesn't work for me. Like I obviously had a very different high school.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like you, but I just don't think it's for you.
I don't think it's
Yeah.
for me. It
Yeah,
just
that's
isn't for
fair.
me.
I think it can cross the boundaries like it does with
However,
gay, but-
I do think that everything that Brittany Murphy does is pretty hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Turk is hilarious too. My favorite scene is not. I like the freeway scene a lot. I think that pretty much everything he does is funny in
Yeah.
this, but the shaving scene just cracks me up
Oh
every
my
time.
god!
It's
I'm gonna
so
call your
funny.
mom. I'm gonna call your
The
mom.
way that he's smiling and he's
What's
like,
the thing that
oh,
he
it's so
says
fresh,
that-
and he like touches his buddy's like shaved head.
Oh yeah, the way he looks up and he's smiling with the cream on his head.
Yeah. It's so good.
It's a great gift too.
Oh god, everything.
It is.
And my two favorite scenes are that and the scene where he talks about tardiness, where he gives a speech
Oh,
about
I can
being
give that
tardy.
speech.
Oh my god,
I
that
wrote it
speech is
down.
so funny.
That's,
Breckenmeyer's amazing.
That might be my favorite part of both of these
Oh
movies.
my gosh.
Yeah.
So like my favorite part of the two movies comes from Clueless, so that's good. But that scene cracks me up
There's
every
just
time.
so
He's
many
so funny.
scenes that are so good.
When they're getting their like report cards and and he's like freaking out in his desk. Breckin Meyer's character is so funny with his little. I love that he always
he
keeps
casually
his skateboard
attempts
on it.
suicide.
Yeah.
Oh, and
yeah,
he jumps
that's
out the
right.
window. Yeah.
Even though it's like one story, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he's just gonna like roll an ankle.
I would say my favorite scene, probably because I was a child, but also because I'm an adult woman now too. In the beginning, opening of the movie.
Yeah, you're 100.
Because I'm an adult woman.
Yeah.
I happen to be 100.
Yeah.
In the beginning.
Taller people age at a different rate.
Yeah, it's like Benjamin Button all fucked up. That's actually a movie that's coming out. Benjamin Button.
Benjamin Button,
Colon.
but all fucked up.
All fucked up.
Colon, all fucked up.
In the pitch meeting, they're all in the room. And it's like, hey, you know that movie Benjamin Button? What if we did it, but all fucked up?
And they're like, yes, tell me more. In the beginning of Clueless, when she has the computer and it is matching her outfits together.
Yeah.
I felt like
Weird science.
Oh yeah, very weird science.
Yeah, they did it.
I was like, I've never wanted to be someone more in my entire life in that moment.
Oh, it's iconic.
Oh, I looked at that and I was like, this is my goal and my only goal in my entire life. That and to live under the beautiful rainbow tent that they do in Spice World. Those are my
interesting.
still to this day my only two goals.
Great movie,
Live under a
too.
rainbow tent, have a computer that matches my clothes.
Ooh, we should do
Windows 95 match.
We should do Spice World versus Coyote Ugly.
Yeah, that's good.
No, that-
Oh.
well,
No, you're
that
onto
doesn't
something.
work.
You're 100% on.
Yeah, but Spice World versus something.
We're almost
you're
there.
onto something.
Is that the category?
Oh no, Pussycat Dolls.
Wait, you can't. They don't
Wait.
have a movie.
Oh, that's right. I don't know what I'm talking about. Hey, let's move on to the next category. We're going to do originality, which is where we talk about how creative the movie was. Did it need to be made? Things like that.
Oh no,
So,
Pussycat Dolls.
Let's talk about Pussycat. No, let's talk about Clueless since we're on it. Nick, why don't you start this one?
Okay, so they don't like neither of them like age super well. There's like weird things in both.
That's
what are we
talk
starting
about
with?
in Legacy.
Clueless?
We're doing originality.
We're doing originality.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Why did I put that in this one?
Don't worry.
I'm an idiot. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
It's all arbitrary.
It's fine. Yeah, it's all arbitrary. None of this matters. Clueless. Okay, Clueless came first, so it gets points for that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's female led, which is nice. See, I wrote that. That means I'm not sexist. It's original though.
You're right. I do have a really
Is
low
it
bar,
original?
so
That's
that
how it works.
works.
Holly, is it original?
It has source material.
Clueless.
It has source material, but
It's
it managed.
based off of Emma.
I have to ask experts because it doesn't work for
Yes,
me.
Well, no,
But I
it's
did give
based
it a
off
5.
of the really famous Jane Austen book Emma, and apparently it's like super accurate to the
Yeah.
book. I've never read
Well,
it.
just in
really?
terms, like the plot points are really like the teachers falling.
Yeah,
in love
everything's
and,
like different because
Oh.
it's obviously modern. But yeah, all the plot, like the structure of the movie runs the same way as Emma.
I think.
Is that why she falls in love with her stepbrother?
Yeah.
yeah,
it was
because it was like
okay?
outdated. Yeah,
Got it.
Yeah.
it's still okay.
You are a redhead. Lindsey Lohan's a redhead.
Oh,
You guys
yeah.
might be related. Twice
oh.
removed. No, I didn't mean it like that.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about the cousin thing. That's not okay. I
My
was
friend
talking
just
step
found
siblings.
out that this girl he knows that we all know, she's a bartender and he used to work there, is his like fifth cousin.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And I was like, well, did you ever think she was hot? He's like, of course I did.
I think we're all fifth cousins.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know, in the
Pangea, dude.
Yeah, you're right. In the grand scheme of life, baby.
Yeah, in the
Because you
grand
have-
scheme of life,
Tectonic
we're all
plates.
beings,
Well,
dude.
you have your cousins, then you
Yeah.
have your first cousins,
That's true.
and then you have. That's not right, is it?
No,
that-
it's not right.
Is that Gretchen or
Seth
the other one?
McMosikowski.
Yeah.
God, he's so hot. He's such a good kisser.
Yo, it's your cousin.
Okay, so since they're not like they're both adapted from source material, I won't give too many points to either. But they both give 5s. I'm
Okay.
gonna spoil my
Okay.
Mean Girls for now.
I'm gonna spoil my Mean
My Mean
Girls.
Girls rating.
Yeah.
What about you for Clueless?
I gave it 6, and I think actually because it came from that kind of source material, a Jane Austen novel, I think it's incredibly creative the way it's structured after that.
Definitely not
I
boring.
mentioned the slang terms thing. I think that's like they created slang
Yeah.
terms and they actually caught on.
what
I
I
really
wrote
wish Jeepin caught on. There's the moment when
yeah.
Dion or what's his name?
That's what I'm gonna
Donald
call it.
Faison,
That's what I'm gonna
Murray.
call it when
Yeah,
I
he
listen
says
to Jeep commercial rock.
Yeah, we're Jeepin, dude.
There's
We're
Yacht Rock.
Jeepin'.
There's Jeep and Rock.
Yeah. I think that, so one thing I like pointing out is the score. Because I notice in comedies that like scores used to be really dumb. They'd be like boom, 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 boom. And then, but this one, the score is really funny. It's like purposely over dramatic in certain scenes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I
and they also
can't
have
say
that
I know
cool
that.
2001 Space Odyssey moment with the phone. Where it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
bum, bum,
Oh,
bum,
yeah.
bum, bum. And then I love the way it's filmed and narrated. Like, the narrating is really clever. I think narration doesn't necessarily need to be in movies. I always, like, kind of talk about it.
Yeah, you're not a
But I like when it's done in a clever way, where we're literally getting everything in her perspective, in her mind, and she gets distracted within her narration.
Yeah.
Like, when she's going through the school and talking about all the, like, female teachers that he should have a boink fest with. She notices the Snickers bar. And she's like, "Ooh, Snickers," or something. And it's so funny because it's like that. It doesn't exist. It's an imaginative scene of her narrating things for us. It's clever. The counterpart is like in Mean Girls. I think the narrating doesn't really add anything to the movie. It's like there's almost too much of it. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of it. Oh, it also like perfectly makes fun of rich kids in Beverly Hills, like really well. And I guess to make it accurate, the writers like sat in on classes at Beverly Hills High and like places around there just to make sure that it was like accurate. And I appreciate that in terms of like its creativity. It definitely needed to be made. It's iconic, and it. A lot of movies are like based off of it, and there was even a TV show at one point.
There was.
Like right after this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Stacey Dash and Donna
But
Faison.
not Alicia Silverstone.
Yeah,
Alicia
which
Silverstone look alike.
is lame. Yeah, she does look like
Yeah.
it. What about you for
originality for Clueless? I'm giving it a 7, bitch.
Whoa!
Can't help
Pew, pew, pew,
myself.
pew.
I think it came before Mean Girls, so naturally it
Right,
has to
right.
it has to have a higher score. And that to me says so much because I can't think of another female-led something. There's a Breakfast Club. There's Pretty in Pink, but they are all.
It's 16
They're
Candles.
more the either engrossed with like a collective group of men and women, or it's like on your own kind of thing.
Oh, good
you know?
point, yeah.
16 Candles is kind of pretty. It's her story. Pretty in Pink. It's mostly her story.
Yeah.
And Clueless, while Cher is the narrator and everything, like it is such an ensemble performance.
Totally.
And I just think I was gonna bring the same point. Like they sat down in schools and tried to, and they came up with words. I wrote a lot of them down. They came up with.
I love when she says Sporadicus instead of Spartacus.
Oh my gosh! Or when
They both movies do that because there's like Gretchen Wiener says irregardless.
Yes!
Which is great.
or Christian goes, "Do you like Billie Holiday?" And he goes, "Yes, I love him."
And he's like, right, sure. And then he drives off.
They came up with Cake Boy, which is a term for
Oh, sick.
gay. Creepin', buggin'. These are my favorites. A Monet.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
calling someone a Monet.
Yeah.
So they're like, what's a Monet? It's like when they're I don't know the exact quote, but it's like when they're really beautiful from afar
Yeah.
and you get up close and it's all a mess.
Yeah.
That is a great.
A Baldwin
that's
or
really
a
good.
Betty, which I still
yeah.
don't know
I
the
like
source
when they call
material
them
for
Bettys,
a Betty.
yeah.
I don't know if it's Betty Davis or something, because Baldwin is definitely, of the time, it's Stephen and Alec Baldwin.
Right.
What's another one?
Way harsh. Love
There's a lot of
when
Baldwins.
she says way harsh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Way
That
hard.
was way harsh.
Yeah.
Ensemble challenged.
Ensemble Challenge is good.
That's amazing. And then As If. Like,
As If is iconic for
like
that.
but versus Mean Girls, what other in what movie do you have it's like an off the cuff, everyone says it. Mean
Right.
Girls doesn't have, they have quotes, but they don't have
Like
the
a term or something, yeah.
It's in
True.
it's
All right,
in
I'll
my
change
brain
my
forever.
rating.
Well, yeah. I was gonna bring that up in
I might give
quotability, but that's a
Clueless
great
a
point.
6. I'm changing it.
Oh,
Yeah.
sick, Nick. All right, well, let's talk about Mean Girls in terms of originality.
It was okay for me to change this one, but not the first one.
Yeah.
You get
Well,
flip
because you were saying you didn't really know if there had been other things before it.
Yeah,
well, let's
okay.
talk about. Why don't you start with Mean Girls originality?
Okay, so I'll give Mean Girls a 5 still because I don't think it's as original. This isn't the category where I want to give this one points. Mean Girls seems to me at times to be more original because of what you just said, that it's like, to me, it's more like LOL funny. Like it's more hilarious, I guess. But it's awesome that it's a female-led, LOL funny kind of movie.
Yeah.
There aren't enough of those, and it's awesome that this is one of them. And it's like the most iconic of those, because I don't think Clueless is the same. Like you said, it's not the same thing. It's not supposed to be this
Cultural thing.
No, it's supposed to be that, but it's not supposed to be this like every single line is super funny kind of movie.
Yeah.
Where Mean Girls is made, I think,
that's
made to
interesting.
be more like that.
I completely agree.
I
That's why they're-
put a note. I'll talk about it later. Yeah, go ahead.
Like, I don't think Clueless was supposed to be written. I mean, it's obviously a comedy and it's funny, but it's not supposed to be this like joke.
Oh, actually, I
kinda
totally.
movie.
I agree. My point, I'll just say it now. My point that I was going to bring up later is that I think the writing for Cher is supposed to be like every single line it's like Zoolander, how literally every single line by Derek Zoolander is funny. There's no serious line
Because
by
the
him.
actors themselves
True.
play
It's like that with Cher, but I agree.
endearingly.
Yeah, that's a
with
good
the
point.
rest,
I
yeah.
just think that the jokes in Mean Girls are original and they're funny, and the stereotypes are used really perfectly.
Yeah.
That makes me
but
feel
they're
like it's
like-
less original because they use the stereotypes.
True.
Clueless doesn't lean on
I gave it less
stereotypes.
points. I gave it a
the
5.
only stereotype Clueless leans on is like a SoCal. They're making fun of the rich kids, which
Right.
is a stereotype everyone wants to fucking make fun of.
Yeah.
But there are moments
I hate money.
in Mean Girls when they go over the table. I'm like, nobody has this high school experience where it's like, what is it? What did they say about
Yeah, to
the
lean
black
into
hotties?
stereotypes
They
is
say
original.
it's
That's
like
true.
ungrateful black hotties or something. I can't remember the word they use.
I can't remember.
Or it's like sexually active band geeks. And like, it kind of leans too heavily on these stereotypes that I don't think
true.
actually exist.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know because I went to a pretty like unique school, I guess.
What was
there
your
wasn't
guys'
like
high
bullies.
school experience? I want to know.
I loved it.
No, I mean, like, was it
High school's
done?
fucking
End of sentence.
sick.
No, I mean, like, was it a big school? Did you have
Pretty big.
Yeah.
Were there bullies or things like that?
So I that's why I want to bring up. We didn't have bullies, and so I grew up like watching movies like Dazed and Confused, thinking I was gonna get like paddled and thrown down like a mountain and stuff. And I even got threatened by this guy right before my first day of school because we pegged his car with water balloons, bitch.
Water,
but-
just water.
I know he's an asshole though. But that never happened, and I thought people were really nice. But I also like my town is like a super rich like white kid
Where are you
town,
from?
Right.
Los Gatos,
Where the hell's that?
like outside of San Jose. It's like
okay.
very very rich white
Yeah.
person town, and so like. I didn't get a lot of diversity. I didn't get so some of these movies like in the Midwest where this is supposed to be maybe are accurate, and we didn't have that.
True. That's
We lived
true.
in a
We're not
super
from Illinois
bubble.
or wherever they're filming this.
Right. I grew up in Palm Desert, and I feel like we definitely had stereotypes.
Oh,
Yeah, you were one of the bullies.
I'm not a bully, dude.
don't worry.
I'm
get
gonna
that
beat you up
you're not
later
a
for
bully.
saying that.
You a serious
I
wedgie.
guess I was like a theater nerd, but I don't think that I mean, I don't know. I didn't really enjoy high school because it's an awful time for people to
High
live.
school was so fun.
What the heck is
Senior year was dope.
But like to be that age is just the worst.
I agree. I mean, puberty sucked.
You don't know anything, but you think you know everything.
You guys remember when you're 17 and then you go to college and they go, "What do you want to do for the rest of your life?"
Yeah,
And you
they're
go,
like,
"Now? I have to decide now?"
Yeah, I know.
like right
Sucked.
I
now.
think about that sometimes. I'm like, thank God I didn't go to college, or I would have
Also,
been like,
here's all the
fucked.
food, eat
You would've
it,
been a
and here's
loser.
all the
I
beer,
would.
drink it. That's what I don't know.
But you said there were stereotypes in your school.
Yeah, I think there
for the most
definitely were
part.
stereotypes.
Okay, I think that's interesting because I went to a small school and I went to school in LA and we were super diverse school. I think
Yeah,
I think
we were,
my
yeah.
demographic, white people were in the minority at my school,
Mm.
and I did not. Everyone was crossing over. No stereotypes. Like I don't,
interesting.
I mean, it's so funny because I think my sister and my boyfriend would be like, "Well, yeah, that's because you were the mean girl and you didn't see." But
You were clueless.
I wasn't the mean girl. It's just a joke that they make. Like
Yeah.
I'm just really snarky and
Yeah, like
have some
Gabe
good
makes the
comeback.
joke that I was a bully, even though he didn't know me, and I'm not a bully. and I'm
It's
gonna beat
just
you up
Blake
later.
said it. Yeah, and Blake's an
Blake
idiot.
didn't even know me in high school.
Blake is also so easy to bully that we're all bullies to
Yeah,
Blake.
yeah. It's not our fault sometimes.
I agree. Well, what did you give Mean Girls
gonna give him a
originality
flurry.
overall?
Mean
Next
Girls,
time I see him.
I'm gonna give it a 5
Okay.
because it had its source material. I think Tina Fey. I didn't read the book, granted, the Birds and the Bees or the Queen Bees and whatever the
Yeah.
book is called. But I read quotes of her saying what she lifted exactly from the text.
Oh, okay.
Like that speech in the cafeteria that Gretchen gives about what they're allowed to wear.
Oh,
That's
interesting.
completely lifted from the text.
Oh.
Word for word.
I like that.
I know, and it's
Yeah.
great, and I think I think it was an easier movie to make than Clueless.
Yeah.
But I will say I totally agree. I think it's I almost think it's funnier in a way. Because it's easier,
But it's
like it's
meant
funnier.
to be
It's
fun-
it's
like, it
not
made
meant
it
to
to
be
be
as
funnier.
heartfelt. Yeah, exactly. So
I think that's a great point. I gave it a 4. I have to keep reiterating
Fair.
4 is average, and
Right.
so I really like talking about this category when it is based off of source material, like a book, like directly from a book. And so I just don't think it's that original of a movie, but it's handled in a clever way.
Yes.
And it's really cool. Like, I love when Lorne Michaels makes a movie, or he produces a movie. You know, any of the SNL type movies are great. I really like everything that they do with Regina George and like her influence over the school. It's just like kind of like well crafted. I like some of the clever scenes. I really like the interviews with the students. I really like the gym scene where they're all like breaking down like the things that they say about other people.
Oh, it's so good. I'm sorry about that time that I told everybody that you got diarrhea in a Barnes and Noble. And I'm sorry for telling everybody again. And
Right.
then she just falls forward.
So good. I love the part when she's like, she doesn't even go here. It's so good.
I just the scene when they're sitting down in the bench, the bleachers, when Tina Fey's like, has anyone ever been personally victimized by Regina George? And then Damien has his hood on, but I didn't even. I think in the past I didn't realize it was Damien or something.
Yeah, he's so
he just
funny in
has
that
his
scene.
hood on, and you're just like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
And then I go through my brain, I'm like, how did he get out of his classes?
Yeah. Oh, true. I love like all the character development with Katie is actually really well written. I like that. We already talked about it. I don't find it to be that accurate to high school, but I also maybe had a different
But
experience.
it's like a cartoony. It's
Exactly.
supposed
It
to be
doesn't
cartoony.
necessarily matter,
Yeah.
but in terms of originality, that's the only part that it makes me
Yeah.
question
the
that.
thing that brings it up, and I almost gave it a 5 for this, is like we talk about in this category, especially when it's a movie based off of a book. Did it need to be made? Yes. Like this is one of the most popular movies for people growing up our age, and like there are a lot, as you mentioned, there are a lot of male-driven high school movies, and it was awesome to have this iconic. This is like for a lot of people. This is like their favorite high school movie, whereas like for me, like Superbad was like a big movie, but I can understand why a girl wouldn't like that either. But what's great about this is like I think everyone can enjoy it.
Absolutely.
But I think it's especially powerful for girls
Yeah.
growing up. All right, let's move on to our next category, which actually kind of falls in line with this. We're going to do legacy, which is where we talk about like whether this movie was talked
Did we
about.
do quotability?
No, that's the last one.
Oh, just kidding.
Because I like ending with quotes.
Okay, good
So legacy is like, will this movie be talked about? What was its reception? Has it aged well for you? Or because like comedies can age poorly, like are there a lot of things that make you cringe?
Oh my God, Trading Places. Fuck
it's
me
hard
if you
to
can
watch
sit
Trading
through that.
Places.
Yeah,
it's
are you
tough.
kidding?
There's a lot of movies like that.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Like even now as an adult, I'll watch movies where I'm like, I love this movie so much. I have to go, okay, Holly, you got to let this one go. This
Yeah.
one is not okay now.
Well, I love Tropic Thunder. I think it's amazing, but there are a lot of things in Tropic Thunder that you just can't make now. But that's just because of cancel culture would not allow for a movie like all the stuff with Matt. All right, we'll talk about it.
I love Tropic.
You got to do that one. You should do that one on the
Dude,
pod.
I love that movie.
I'll start
It's a
with
rooster illusion.
Mean Girls since we're already on it for legacy. I gave it a 6. I'm pretty close to giving it a 7 because of like how everyone knows it. Everyone our age constantly quotes it. Sam Townsend, or she has a different last name now because she's married, but she reached out and she was like, you guys, like, how can you even compare anything to Mean Girls or something? Like, this movie's powerful to people. It got better critical reviews, like slightly better than Clueless. They both got good reviews. It made $130 million worldwide, which is
Do we know what
fucking
the budget
crazy.
was?
17 million.
Wow.
That's really good for a comedy,
my
especially a high school one.
God.
I will say Lindsey Lohan as a person aged poorly over time. It's rough. It's rough now.
Nailed it.
That was self-imposed, though. She aged herself.
I'll say
It was not her genetics.
one thing that hurts it over time for me, and why I'm not giving it a 7, but I could be convinced, is like some of the editing and the score. Like this is one where it doesn't have a good score. It has like the ding 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 ding. It has like
you
weird.
have a music brain, don't you?
Yeah, a little bit. But it's just like this was made 9 years after Clueless, and I feel like there's a lot that ages this, whereas like a lot of the aging in Clueless is like intentional. Like we want you to know this was in the 90s in Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
This one is like supposed to be
making fashion
anytime.
statements on purpose, whereas
Exactly.
Mean Girls specifically went to the costume designers specifically went to small towns in the United States to try to find what they were wearing at the time.
Oh, interesting.
So I think it was.
Oh, so then I guess that is intentional too, which
yeah,
is
it was
cool.
totally intentional. But I find that with Clueless, like they're like, we're gonna make statements, whereas the Mean Girls, like, we want to be understated in what they're wearing because we want it to feel real.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
I do want to point out in terms of like what's aged poorly, like it's pretty obvious like how the lack of diversity in Mean Girls is kind of unacceptable for a movie that was made 9 years. Like the diversity in Clueless is incredible for when it came out in the early 90s. Like people were still like super anti-gay and like there were no lead black actors in big movies like that. And Mean Girls, it kind of sticks out. And there's even that like, I'm not going to say what they say, but they have the Asian students like say, please,
oh my God,
or whatever.
I know.
And it's like, it's
or when
really
they
weird.
call, like, yeah, you're
That was
right. They really
graceful.
lean on diversity for jokes.
Yeah.
And that it was not what Clueless doesn't do that at all.
And it's like, and you can't, it's like, I'm kind of ashamed of Tina Fey, who is like a really progressive liberal person, for like how they casted this movie.
When she says the word retarded out of her own mouth.
Oh, and it's all the time. But one thing that aged amazingly, Past That Dutch is a dope song, and every moment with the Plastics, it's the whole soundtrack is great for both of these movies, but that song
That is expertly
fucking
used.
rocks, and I
Yeah.
put it in the little Instagram thing
Fuck
yesterday.
yeah, I fucking love that.
So yeah, I mean, I'm giving it a 6. I still think it's
I'm gonna also give it a 6.
yeah.
And it's only not a 7 because they use the R word and it just doesn't there's just so much stuff that doesn't age. It's not diverse. Like they just lean into stereotypes to the point that it becomes like a problem almost when you rewatch it. But people love it and I love it. It's one of my favorite comedies. And it, like, the parts that are funny, the jokes are more or less timeless. There's just some stuff that's like, no, you can't. Like, come on, really, Tina?
Yeah.
Really, Tina? You really did that? It just has to get a 6, but I can't give it a 7.
For sure. What about you, Holly?
Well, I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna give it a 6 for all the same reasons.
666, and number of the beast.
For Mean Girls.
Hail Satan.
Satan.
All right. Yeah. Do you have
Oh, you guys are
anything-
Satan lovers too? Awesome.
Yeah, we love him
my God.
or her.
Can we just take a minute to talk about the Dark Lord?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Why did you give it a 6 and not a 7?
But I mean, literally the exact same reasons you guys are saying. Like, I
love this.
I just think it's there's certain things where you go, oh no, that doesn't work now.
But it doesn't
But it's-
happen in Clueless.
It
Well,
doesn't.
yeah, okay, so let's
I
talk-
mean, but also I don't want to be I don't want to offend anyone that's listening and they go, I was really offended by this moment. This is through my lens and my perspective of my high school experience. So if there's something that offended you in Clueless, just know we hear you.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that didn't happen, and I might have missed it, is what I'm saying.
For sure.
It's-
Well, why don't you talk about Clueless? Like, what did you give that for legacy? Like, out of
7,
that-
boys.
Oh, sick.
And I'm gonna keep it simple.
All right.
Okay. The source material for Clueless was a classic. Was
Oh,
it
yeah.
not? Clueless is its own thing now. It's its own classic.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
It has transcended its source material, which was already one of the most widely known female books.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
I gave it a 7.
Oh, fuck.
Oh my
Because
Because I
stars.
can see things from other people's perspectives.
Oh my god.
And I understand that it's a
You said that like you're proud of yourself.
And I am not
love it.
anymore.
No, I meant it in a good way.
It's just like it just is one of those movies that I definitely should have watched when I was younger, and I don't know why I didn't. And I probably would have liked it more, but now that I see it as like an outsider and like everyone's like knows about this movie, and then I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't understand. But that's because I'm stupid and I watched it too late. But it's, I mean, I don't know that Mean Girls would exist without it.
Yeah.
So like it has to have
Has some.
it has to have a higher
Totally.
score. And I think that this is the category to give it a 7.
Yeah, you know I always go like the objective approach. I actually was at a 6, and I'm
Oh,
being
yeah,
convinced
you
a
do?
7 for sure. Only no, and Legacy I do.
Yeah.
It got good reviews. It made $56 million, which is really good. See, that's like normal.
But is it
good.
certified fresh?
Yeah. No. Yeah, no, I think it is. It's like 78%.
Rotten Tomatoes gave The Wedding Planner like 12%, and any J-Lo movie baseline gets 60%. So suck my dick.
Fair enough. Whoa, shit. Yeah, that's right.
That's a hard stance I take. J-Lo movies get 60% or more, and then we go from there.
I will say, there's a few things that age poorly. Stacey Dash. Fuck Stacey Dash.
Absolutely.
She is one of the biggest pieces of shit in this country.
What a
and
bummer that she was in this movie.
I know, but she was so sick in this movie.
It's so funny that I had to be like, that is the bad one, right?
Yeah.
She's the bad lady,
Yeah.
right?
So some things that age really well. The soundtrack is amazing for this. Like, and you
Yeah.
know what movie it is. Like when they do Just a Girl and then they do Shoot.
Oh my, Rolling with the Homies?
Rolling with the Homies.
Iconic.
Yeah. Love it. And I love the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones concert scene.
Yeah.
Which is sick. Ska music ages this movie, but it's still like purposely that's
But
what the
also,
time
I love
was.
that they're
Kids are
I would
dancing to
argue.
bands.
I was gonna. They're dancing to bands. Like I would argue that no. Oh, and in Mean Girls, when they're in Regina George's room and she turns on the radio and it's like slow kind of. I don't know, Anna DeMarco like. I don't know who it is, but it's just kind of like a
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
it makes me think of current day young girls and what they're listening to, and it's couldn't be farther from that. It feels so much more narrow than it was then.
Agree.
It was more widely. People would listen to more things back then.
I will say R.I.P. to Luke Perry. They talked about him in this, and I'm kind of sad that Cher and him never got to date, or Alicia Silverstone at least. That would have been funny if that happened.
Full circle.
It just aged really, really well for me. Like it
You know what
was
didn't
this
age well?
rewatch
Alicia
was
Silverstone's
great.
career too.
Yeah, she
Yikes.
kind of fell apart.
She's kind of like this holistic hippie now.
Is she really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
is she?
she like,
good
feeds
for
her
her.
kids candles and stuff.
Good
I'm
for
kidding.
her. All
She
right,
doesn't
let's
feed her
finish
kids
it off then with our last category, which is quotability and rewatchability. So we're talking about quotability. It's not just like what quotes we love. It's like, did the quotes infect like our conversations with our friends and family, and then like how rewatchable is this? And so we could start with Clueless. Since you love Clueless so much, please go ahead with the things that infected yours.
So it's a 7?
No, I'm gonna give it a 6 on quotability.
Whoa!
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 6.
I'm the same.
Because it has. We already talked about the dialogue. It basically infected in our brains, where it gave us words, gave us like, oh my god, totally harsh, bugging, things like that. But I would say line for line, it can't match Mean Girls in quotability. It just can't. Like it has the speeches that they give are. In Clueless are so well written and so clever and funny that I think people remember them, but it's hard
But
to
not
quote
like
them.
quoting.
Yeah.
Oh,
the
good
quotes
point.
that I remember the most are "You're a virgin who can't drive," "Rolling with the homies." What else?
Oh shit, you got Coke here?
What?
Yeah. Oh shit, you got Coke here?
Yeah.
Your accent's
Also,
great.
Yeah.
the one
You got Kokia?
this back and forth between Murray and Dion, I fucking love. Where Dion goes in the beginning of the movie, Murray goes, "Woman, let me $5."
I love
And Murray,
I'm so glad you wrote
And
this
then Dion's like, "Murray, I have asked you repeatedly not to call me woman." "Excuse me, Miss Dion." "Thank you." "Okay, but street slang is an increasingly valid form of expression. Most of the feminine pronouns do have mocking, but not necessarily in misogynistic undertones."
Yeah,
And like that,
such a
And then he
that's
looks so proud of himself. He has the funniest face.
and that's
after
a
that
moment
line.
where I'm like, holy shit, we're learning in this. What? We're learning, but it doesn't necessarily make it as quotable as Mean Girls.
Well, I love that they make them talk like it's so funny that they all come from really rich kid parents, like a lot of lawyers and stuff, so they all speak in funny ways.
It's just really self-aware.
Yeah, and Ty
But
Ty
also
goes
not at all with Sharon at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, she
isn't
does. She says like
self-aware.
scholastic aptitude and like she's saying things like she's like my friend Phil who asks me for like legal terms to use in random conversations, like filibuster. He like says stuff like
That's
that.
really funny.
And like it's what she does. I'm like, oh, that's so funny. That's someone who's grown up listening to a lawyer yell at people on the phone, and she's using it to sound smarter and more adult.
I never thought about that. You're blowing my mind.
smart.
That is blowing. That you're blowing my mind, and also Amy Herculini is a fucking god.
Yeah, she's awesome for
'cause
doing this.
Cher says those things, but then she also doesn't know that she should cut up a cookie dough roll before
Yeah.
she puts it in the oven.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like you're 100% right. That is
Yeah.
so cool. I
Yeah,
didn't
it's
think
funny.
about that.
Yeah, what did you give it, Nick?
I gave it a 4 because I missed the boat.
Okay.
And I totally agree with what Holly just said, that it's just not like, it's not made to be this. It's the same thing we were talking about before. It's not made to be this like boom, 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 joke, joke, joke kind of movie. So that kind of like it just doesn't compare in that way to Mean Girls. Like it just can't. But that being said, I also think people quote it all the time. It holds a special place in people's hearts, like our guest. But I just don't get it. Also, calling people Baldwins today is so doesn't work anymore.
It doesn't work, yeah.
It doesn't.
Except for Alec Baldwin, who got like way bigger over time, but not his brothers.
Yeah, also he's mean.
I think the writing in Clueless is better than
Yeah.
Yeah,
Girls,
for sure.
but not funnier.
Yeah, exactly.
There were
Totally
some
agree.
lines that I was like, I forgot about, and then I was watching them. I was like, oh, I used to love these. Like the part when she's like, Dad, this is my friend Ty. He's like, get out of my chair. And then I love when she goes, and this is so funny because I was just doing litigation that was my first job out of law school. And she goes, Daddy's a litigator. Those are the scariest kinds of lawyers. I fucking agree. They're the worst. I used to say like, but I thought they made peace in the Middle East.
Yeah.
And then there was a couple lines that I had noticed this time that I loved, like it's like the book I had to read in 9th grade that said, "'Tis a far better thing doing stuff for other people," which is A Tale of Two Cities that she's like horribly referencing. There were some good ones. There's that Pauly Shore line that was funny.
Yes, I know.
The Sammy Davis, where he's like, "What's with you, kid? You think the death of Sammy Davis gives you an open invitation to the Rat Pack?"
Yeah.
Yeah, all the stuff with
Or
everything with the dad.
Hamlet Mel Gibson part when they're in
Oh,
the car.
so funny.
And like I love that
But I
moment.
do know Mel Gibson.
What is, like, she literally corrected these. It was making fun of 2 of those college kids.
Right,
she
right.
corrected those snarky college kids
who were like,
who
so
assumed
pretentious
something
about
her.
Yeah.
And was right using a source material that was wrong. Like it was.
I love Josh's like little smile in that moment. He's like kind of proud of her when she does that. And this is his like girlfriend too. That's that she corrects. Yeah. All right. So I gave it 6, just like Holly, and Nick, you gave it a 4.
Yep.
Let's talk about Mean Girls quotability / rewatchability.
Ooh.
But rewatchability, I give it a 7 though for Clueless.
Yeah. So that,
I've watched that movie more times than any movie ever.
Yeah, I think I think it continues to be rewatchable. It's really fun to notice little lines and stuff.
Yeah.
I just think that you're totally right that like the quotes didn't necessarily all infect conversation. But I mean, for me, quotability, rewatchability for Mean Girls is kind of opposite. Like, I will rewatch Mean Girls, but I'm not as strongly passionate about rewatching
yeah.
it.
But you quote it all the time.
But I'll quote it all the
Yeah.
time, and
Isn't
so
that
I'm at a
funny?
6
Yeah.
for that as well because of
Boo,
that.
you whore. I gave it a 7.
Yeah.
No, but the rewatchability for me brought it down, and I'm just being subjective
Still,
about
boo,
it, dude.
you whore.
That's funny.
No, you're funny.
No, you're
I-
funny.
you're
Oh, guys.
I gave it a 7 because I think the quotes are great. I mean, you go Glen Coco on Wednesdays we're at Pink to Gay to Function.
It's so
Boo, you
weird that you
whore.
go
She
Glen
doesn't even
Coco
go
is
here.
that popular
I
of a
know.
quote.
Oh my God, Danny DeVito, I love your work.
Yeah.
Is such a funny line.
Yeah, that was great. I mean, there's so many lines that I've heard my whole life quoted by girls that love that, and even guys will do that too.
Yeah.
So,
I give it a 7 for Mean Girls for quotability. It just, I also, in high school, I just remember guys and girls quoting it just the same.
Yeah.
It was not, it wasn't.
Get in, loser. We're going
Yes?
shopping.
Oh
Yeah, I
my
love that.
God. What else did I write down? But you're like really pretty. So you agree. You think you're really pretty.
Yeah, that's so good. Why is like everyone like latches on to Glen
Yeah.
Coco, which is random, and then it's October 3rd.
Yeah.
It's
Mean
like-
Girls Day.
Yeah,
Oh,
Mean
that's
Girls
pretty
Day.
impressive. It has a fucking day.
That is really
does
cool.
have a
That is
day.
really. I mean, it's powerful. Like people love this.
Damn.
Is butter a carb?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
great. I remember everyone says that. The Gretchen,
oh,
stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not
Oh,
going to
yeah,
happen.
fetch.
Yeah.
kind of calling out in a way. It's like reverse cluelessing. They're inventing a word knowing it's not going to work.
Right.
Just like you
exactly.
just did. You
And
said reverse cluelessing.
Hell yeah.
You just
Oh,
invented a
whoa.
word while talking about inventing a word.
That's just like the rules of feminism. Yeah. I mean, people just say, everyone quotes
Yeah.
Mean Girls all the time.
Yeah.
She's like, is butter
it's
carb?
just-
And then she goes, oh, screw it. I'm going to go get cheese fries.
Yeah. I can't help it if I have a heavy flow and a wide set vagina.
Or when they're at that, the what's it called? Gymnasium repentance thing. And that girl's like, I just wanted to make a cake out of rainbows so everyone could be happy.
Danny
She's crying while she's doing it.
Danny pointed out this line that I used to find so funny is when they're fighting and one guy's like, "Yeah, take your top off."
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's so funny. Yeah, on Wednesdays we wear pink is big too.
Of course.
Don't look at me. I think I have ESPN.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, they're both like timeless classics, but I totally would understand like giving Mean Girls the 7 because it's everyone quotes Mean Girls, and I don't know. For me, as like the rewatchability factor with Clueless that I forgot to mention is that like if you you can see my DVDs here. I clearly am obsessed with male-driven movies, and like most of my favorite movies are male-driven.
I know,
but then like
Exhibit A, these DVDs
all these,
here.
no, and
take a
it's like
picture.
almost embarrassing when I see it. But like something like Clueless is so rewatchable to me, even though, despite
That makes
the
me
fact.
so happy.
Yeah, and I like it.
love
So,
that.
all right, so let's add up our scores.
Oh God, I didn't write
What
mine
don't
down.
we?
Oh, math.
All right, well then, Nick, why don't you start? What was your?
In an interesting turn of events, I gave both movies 25.
Whoa, nice, 25
Unless
out of
I have
35.
messed up the math, and I don't think I have.
Okay, I gave Mean Girls 26 out of 35. Ow, I gave Mean Girls more than you, even though I don't like it as much as you. That's just kind of how our category breakdown goes. And then I gave
There's
Clueless.
stupid categories that don't mean anything.
I gave Clueless 29 out of 35. And that's really high for a comedy for me. So you know what? I love you, Clueless. All right, what about you, Holly?
I was coming on like so prepared to defend the shit out of Clueless, and I'm so happy that you have have appreciation for it and that you love it so much. I gave Clueless 34 out of 35.
Okay.
And I
Holy
don't
shit.
exactly remember my Mean Girls score, but I think it was somewhat in the range of like 27 probably.
It was like probably 29.
Yeah, it was probably 20
Yeah.
and 29.
Yeah.
But Clueless got a 34. Hard 34.
All right. Well, what is that in total,
I've made a
Nick?
mistake.
Uh-oh.
Clueless is a 25, and Mean Girls got a 30 from me.
Whoa.
30?
Huge mistake.
Wow.
I
Cool.
forgot to add one of the
You
categories.
fool.
All right, well, interesting. Then just disregard, irregardless of what I said earlier. Okay, well, let's do a little fun. Do you want to add those up all together?
Clueless gets an 88.
Clueless gets an 88,
Oh my
and
God.
so in the end, we're gonna after we add it up, Clueless gets an 88 out of 105,
Oh my God, I'm on the
And
edge.
Mean
of my-
Girls gets an 84.
and Mean Girls gets an 84 out of 105. That's right, suck it, Samantha, if
Hell
you're listening.
yeah.
But anyways, but they're both great movies, and we're happy to talk about them. But now, normally in our accolade section, we talk about like MVP, LVP, best scene, worst scene. Let's do a different one. Let's do our top 5 favorite high school movie main characters, or or like main-ish
Do we
characters.
do main characters?
Well, like just don't do like someone that has like 3 lines
Okay.
or something. Yeah. So,
All right.
Holly,
I'm
why
gonna
don't you
piggyback
start?
on you guys though, because I didn't prepare.
Okay, no
If that's
worries.
Oh, I
okay.
just wrote them before we did this.
Okay, I'll start then.
You're so prepared.
Gabe does
My
things-
number
That's what I do for
5. My
Gabe
number
does things
5.
autonomously, and then I kind of
I
follow suit.
texted this to both of you guys.
You didn't text me.
I did. I put in, but I gave you a lot of information.
Oh.
Nick, I specifically sent like a specific text about
You think
this.
I read all of your texts?
And you should just know this by now. It's the same thing with the shout out thing. All right, anyways, my number 5 all-time favorite high school movie main characters is Cher.
Oh, interesting.
My number 4 is Max Fisher.
You did text me this. I'm sorry. Or you
No
did message
worries.
me?
My number 4 is Max Fisher, the main character from Rushmore. He's so funny.
Good, that's a good one.
My
never
number
seen
3 is a
Rushmore.
tie because I like them together. That you need them together is Seth and Evan from Superbad. My number 2, this shouldn't be a surprise to you, Nick, is Ferris Bueller.
Oh fuck
I love
yeah!
him.
Oh, good.
Are you?
And my number
you're a Ferris
1
Bueller stan, and you're
a
a
huge Ferris Bueller stan.
Marty McFly stan.
Yeah. Well, I also like Back to the Future, and he just barely missed it. Marty McFly. My number 1 is Jeff Spicoli from Fast Times at Ridgemont
Yeah,
High.
I
He's
knew
my
you'd do
favorite
that.
stoner ever. What about you guys? I'll talk about my honorable mentions after.
Oh god. Oh gosh. I mean,
You want me to go first?
Yeah, you go.
Okay.
You go.
I did Marty McFly, Biff Tannen, and George McFly as 3 out of the 5 of them.
That's dumb.
Dude, George McFly is, ever since we do George
Don't be so gullible, McFly. Hello, McFly.
Dude, those 3 have to make it, and then Spicoli and Ferris Bueller. So
Nice. I love
Yeah.
it. Hey, man. Respect.
fist bump.
Okay.
Wait, let's do the Clueless handshake. Go like this.
Okay, yeah, we
it's
nailed
so
it.
cute when you
All right,
guys
what
do
about
it.
you, Holly?
I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, I know.
Shares my numbers 1 through 5. No.
Oh,
Shares
that's
number
fine.
1, easy. Number 2, oh God. You know what's funny when you like a movie so much and you want to put it on your list, but you don't like. Bring It On is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know if a character necessarily stands out. in
Oh,
Bring It
man. Eliza Dushku.
I know.
Oh, she's so hot.
On. Okay, I was gonna say her if anybody because I loved her as a child.
She's
I was
so
like, I
cool.
was like, she's so cool. She wears like leather wristbands.
She's sick.
So, but I'm gonna do Cher, and then I'm gonna do Regina George,
Uh-huh.
Nice.
and then I'm gonna do
Nice.
Ferris Bueller.
Nice.
And then I think I'll do Eliza Dushku from Bring It On.
Sick.
And
Yeah, say what other ones you like.
thank you.
That is the prompt.
I think so. I don't know. I don't know if I could pick another one because nothing like grabbed me.
Marty McFly.
I
Good
have Marty
job.
McFly on mine. I have Pink from Dazed and Confused, the main character. Slater from Dazed and Confused is a great stoner.
McLovin just as a character, he's great.
Oh, McLovin is
McLovin,
great.
dang.
Regina George is great. Mike Damone. I fucking
Who's
love.
Mike
He's
Damone?
in
Christian
Fast Times at
Slater
Ridgemont
and
High. He
Heathers.
thinks he's so cool.
Yeah.
Definitely Christian Slater and Heathers.
Yeah.
Steve
Really
Stifler, the Shermanator,
Oh my God,
hero,
American
the
Pie. I
Shermanator.
forgot American Pie.
Yes.
My
So-
hero?
He's
Your
my hero, the
hero's
Shermanator.
I know him.
Do you know him
I know
personally?
him. I do.
That's sick. Can I
he's
meet
one-
him?
He's one of my friends. They moved. They don't live in California anymore.
Well, then don't bring it up to me. You just let me
he's
tell.
one of my friend's boyfriends.
No, you shouldn't meet your heroes, so I'm never going to meet Shermanator.
Good call.
Do you guys have any like scenes that you want to point out that we didn't talk about?
Ooh, I think we covered.
I know.
I think we
really
did
did
too.
a good job.
Do you have any recommendations for like high school type movies or any type of movie that you think people should watch that they haven't watched?
I mean,
Like things you watched recently or high
that I
school
watched
stuff.
Recently.
We like to do it like something similar to
Birds of Prey. Go see Birds of Prey.
Oh, you liked
Go
it?
see Harley Quinn. Birds of Prey. I thought it was a fun movie. Like I'm not going
Yeah.
in with high expectations.
My roommate
I'm going in with Avengers expectations.
hated it. And now I want to see it because I talked to Kane about it and
That's-
Kane loved it.
That
friend.
is way
He
too
said it's the
your
worst
roommate and
movie.
friend.
Gabe, that is way too fucking extreme. Like
I
there's
know.
it's
know. Alex.
objectively a fun movie. There's
Yeah.
nothing to hate about it.
I know it looks fun.
Yeah, that's-
I kind of want to see it.
I'm
now.
having some opinions about your roommate right now.
Yeah, we should
and,
kill him.
and friend.
Yeah, and
But-
friend.
No, I would say that
secondly.
and I just watched my favorite movies of all time. I like to think that I'm not as I hate for lack of a better word girly as I am
Mm-hmm.
because I would say my physical appearance isn't as girly as I probably am. But Legally Blonde, Bring It On, and Clueless are my favorite movies. I can't and Anchorman, but
Oh, nice.
Legally Blonde.
I really want to find a Legally Blonde one to
Yeah.
do. Yeah, it'd be fun.
That'd
Just
be
so I
hard.
can do
gotta
a
be- there's something.
perfect day.
Hope Solo.
As the
Or
intro,
not
you
Hope
just
Solo.
sing
Hope.
the
Just
whole
sing that song. Oh, I
I don't know why I said
recommend.
that. Her name's Hope something.
I recommend for high school movies that newer one from last year. I loved Booksmart,
Ugh,
and I think
did
people
not
should
like
watch
Booksmart.
it. Oh, it worked.
Really?
It worked.
It was such
really
a
well
ripoff
for me.
of Superbad.
Oh, I thought it was like it brought
And it was
in
hammering.
deeper meanings and
Right.
stuff.
It was so in your face about it, and I'm
Ham-fisted.
Disagree. Hey
Did
guys.
you see Booksmart?
Yeah.
I like that Malala stuff. Like when you say
Okay.
Malala, I was like, roll my eyes. Come on, we get it. You're woke. Like,
But they were
I'm
joking
such a
about
feminist.
that. They were joking about how ridiculous they were
weren't-
about
they
Michelle
weren't
Obama and
joking.
stuff.
No, Malala.
Yeah, well then they talked
weren't
about that,
joking
but they were
about it
like,
enough. I felt like it was really pushing something on people without having the
hey, why
smart
don't you
writing
guys
behind
go
it.
listen and
But
you could
I'm-
decide. You could hate it. My roommate didn't. He said the same exact
Yeah.
thing. He said, "See,
Well,
maybe you'll like him now."
I
But
know.
he said he felt like it was too much of a ripoff. I thought it
Yeah.
was like a cool take
Considering
on
that
it.
it's her brother was in Superbad.
I know, it's cool
I'm like,
Beanie Feld's in.
This
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
a little.
There were some parts that I laughed hard.
My
There was
only
good moments, though.
recommendation is you already gave the recommendation. I was going to recommend that people listen to Shay Serrano's podcast and
Yeah.
listen to the Regina George episode.
Oh yeah,
so
I need to
good.
listen
It's
to
really-
that.
it's
And
really-
get his
Yeah.
book. His book
It's
is
really funny,
absolutely hilarious.
And there's going to be some stuff in it that he digs into that is like, I didn't want to say in this podcast
Mm-hmm.
because then we're just taking from him.
Yeah.
That he like paid way too much attention to the movie and there's like little
Oh.
things that are pretty awesome.
How fun.
Holly, where can people follow you?
On Instagram at Holly Anna Comedy. Anna is spelled A-N-A because I made it hard. Holly Anna Comedy, or I have a website called Holly Anabel Brown where I post all my stand-up dates.
Yeah, and you're going to are you going to the Vault tonight in Redlands?
Yeah.
We went to University of Redlands, and so we used to go to the Vault. Or at least I used to
My
go to the
brother
Vault.
goes to Redlands to like hang out and like go to bars all the time. I'm telling him to go to your show.
Yeah, I'll be there. This is going to be up later than that, but I'm at Redlands tonight.
Oh yeah, true. Well, you reach out to John.
When was this episode going to come out?
Wednesday.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, go to El Burrito.
Oh, and if you you definitely go to El Burrito's the best burrito.
I'm gonna write this
Don't
down.
listen to anyone that says Kukas.
I might shit my pants on
No,
stage.
if you're a
but-
Kukas stan, get out. My
Yeah,
voice
we
just
hate you.
cracked.
Don't
That's
worry,
how-
I'm not a
Hey,
stan for
And
anything.
also, I think you guys should go and listen to Actually, a podcast for nerds.
Yes.
I've been on it multiple times, but honestly, like they cover every type of thing that you could nerd out about.
If you like this podcast, you will like ours. We're very we get each other. These
Yeah.
podcasts are friends.
Yeah,
And if you like them, also listen to Movies That Molded Me, which will be on next week.
Oh yeah, that's true. And we talk about high school. We talk about 80s high school movies.
Yeah.
Which will be cool. This is a podcast that we are on, Movies That Molded Me.
Oh.
We'll tell them
Super
to
cool people.
listen Actually, and you guys could do like a little link up thing because they're awesome.
That's
Super
awesome.
cool people.
You can follow us on Instagram as well. We are at Instagram.com/facingoffpod. We're also on Twitter. And it's twitter.com/facingoffpod. And you can send us an email. We're only getting emails from my mom, and so
I kind of think it's awesome.
it's hilarious, and we'll read her emails. This one, she just ranked her Scorsese movie, so it wasn't that interesting. But
I want to see the list.
yeah, I'll send it. But send us an email, and we will read it on this podcast. Let us know what you thought about these movies, or if you have recommendations. That is facingoffpodcast@gmail.com. And do you guys have a send-off line from one of these movies?
I'm not a regular mom. I'm a cool mom.
I just want to thank you guys for letting me talk about my favorite movie.
Oh my God, Danny DeVito, I love your work.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on,
Thank
Holly.
you guys. I
It
love
was
these
awesome.
movies.
Yeah.
All right, bye.
Boy.